The kitchen light felt harsher than usual that November evening in Oak Ridge, Washington, as Harlan Brooks' open hand cracked across my face. I tasted blood instantly, the sting blooming hot across my cheek and lip. At 32, after 12 years of calculated endurance, that single backhand finally cracked something deep inside me. I staggered back against the counter, my hip slamming into the edge. Breath stolen not just from the blow, but from the realization that silence had never protected anyone. Harlan loomed, 6'4" of controlled rage, still wearing the crisp polo shirt from his Oak Ridge Community Trust Board meeting. The scent of bourbon cut through the air, mixing with the faint antiseptic lingering on my scrubs from my shift at Oak Ridge General Hospital. My mother, Ruth, stood frozen by the sink, knuckles white around a dish towel, eyes pleading silently for me not to push further. "Where were you really?" Harlan's voice stayed low. The tone that once terrified me as a teenager now only fueled a strange new clarity. "Work ran late. I texted Mom." I managed, keeping movements slow as I set my keys down. The lie felt heavy, but admitting I'd stopped at Aunt Serena's with groceries and pain meds for her arthritis would ignite him further. Mrs. Ellis from across the street had seen my car. Harlan's sources always did. "That woman poisons everything she touches. I've warned you." His fist hit the granite with a thud that vibrated through my bones. "She's my aunt. Mom's sister. She needed help." "Harlan, prescriptions don't wait." The words slipped out after years of swallowing them. 20 years of pretending this house was normal, that his discipline was just strong leadership, evaporated in the metallic taste flooding my mouth. He moved with surprising speed for his size, shoving me hard. My back hit the island, pain shooting through my side. "You think I'm blind? She's feeding you lies about my work at the trust. Spreading paranoia." Ruth whispered. "Harlan, please." "Quiet, Ruth." His backhand caught me again as I tried to straighten, careful, open-handed. Always technicalities with Harlan. No closed fist that could leave undeniable marks for outsiders. Choose her over this family, over everything I've built. His breath was sour, righteousness dripping from every word. "Get out of my sight. If you go back there, you'll learn what real consequences feel like." I fled upstairs, locking the bathroom door with shaking hands. In the mirror, my lower lip swelled rapidly, a thin blood line marking where it split against my teeth. I angled my phone, capturing the damage under bright vanity lights. Click. The recording app stayed on as I pressed a cold cloth to my face. Through the floorboards, Harlan's rant continued, threats against Serena, accusations of conspiracy, Ruth's tearful pleas. 3 minutes and 20 seconds of his unmasked voice. Evidence. Later, in my childhood bedroom that still felt like a cage, I texted Serena. "He knows I visited. It's worsening." Her reply came fast. "Document everything. The moment is approaching." The bruise was minor, healing in days, the kind easily explained as clumsiness. But paired with the recording, it clarified years of fog, excuses made for his temper, isolation from friends, financial control dressed as protection. What terrified Harlan so much about Serena? The answer, I suspected, could topple the respectable facade he'd built as chairman of the Oak Ridge Community Trust, the charity funneling donations to local education and health programs. Serena's modest house smelled of chamomile tea and aged files. She waited at the kitchen table, a worn leather briefcase open beside her. My lip had settled enough to speak clearly, but her sharp eyes narrowed at the swelling. "He hit you again." "Not a question." Backhanded. "Twice." I wrapped hands around the mug she offered. "He found out about Tuesday." "Good." Fear makes powerful men sloppy. Serena's fingers tapped once. Deliberate. Getting struck clarifies priorities. Doesn't it?
It did.
The haze of keeping peace, believing things would improve, lifted with that copper taste. Tell me what you've uncovered. Serena opened the case with practiced calm. I didn't hunt for secrets. I documented what sat in plain sight during my volunteer bookkeeping years ago. Papers spread like a hand of cards. Bank statements, authorization forms, copied checks, transfer screenshots. Small discrepancies at first, thousands here and there for non-existent contractors. Undelivered supplies for after-school programs. Her finger traced patterns. Harlan grew bolder. Amounts escalated. Withdrawals always just under reporting thresholds. Authorizations signed by Harlan and board members too ill or absent to consent. I scanned a statement. My hospital compliance training spotting red flags immediately. These loans against trust property, $1.3 million refinanced without full board approval?
Exactly.
Funds routed to shell entities like Brooks' legacy initiatives. His personal ventures masquerading as outreach. No real projects materialized. Congregation, no. Donor, trust was weaponized. Serena's voice chilled. Total diverted. At least $2.5 million over 5 years. Federal crime territory. That's why he isolates your mother. Bans contact with me. She slid a thumb drive and draft whistleblower form across. Digitized. Backed up securely. We need corroboration. Independent audits. Careful process. My mind clicked into compliance mode procedures, paper trails, irrefutable logic. Anonymous tips to the board demanding external review. Then State Attorney General, IRS. Build a restraining order file from the abuse evidence. Serena squeezed my hand. We don't fight with fists. We fight with process. 3 phases. Trigger audit. File reports. Lock assets. We planned late into the night. Every step logged. Leaving. The hip bruise throbbed, but it felt like armor now. Harlan believed fear kept us divided. He hadn't counted on Serena turning years of quiet observation into ammunition, or me finally ready to use the systems I navigated daily at the hospital. During lunch the next day, I sat in a coffee shop 3 blocks from the hospital, creating a fresh Proton Mail account. Concerned, donored OC24@protonmail.com. Nothing traceable. The first email went to all 9 Oak Ridge Community Trust board members. Names pulled from public filings. Subject: Urgent request for independent financial review, time sensitive. Body stayed clinical. As committed supporters, we request immediate external audit due to irregularities including unverified contractor payments totaling $78,000. Subthreshold withdrawals repeated at $9,800. Unauthorized property refinancing without donor vote per bylaws section 12.4. And mismatched grant disbursements versus IRS 501c. 3. Acknowledgements. Investigation needed within 72 hours to preserve tax-exempt status. Attached, publicly available records with highlights, property liens, annual reports flagging anomalies, transaction timelines. No insider details from Serena. Just enough to compel action. A second email reached the Washington State Attorney General's nonprofit division, citing specific statutes. Form 990 discrepancies. Private inurement risks. Back at my desk updating patient compliance charts.
DR.
Patel noticed my focus. Everything aligned for the accreditation review? Just ensuring protocols hold. Not entirely false. By mid-afternoon, responses trickled. The board treasurer's daughter replied, deeply concerning. Emergency board meeting scheduled for Sunday. My father has been unwell, oversight lapsed. I forwarded to Serena, momentum building. That evening in my car in the hospital garage, I listed every past incident, bruises, threats, unfiled police reports, isolation tactics. My phone held 41 audio clips now, rants, veiled warnings, the latest kitchen assault, uploaded securely to multiple clouds. Links sent to Serena. The domestic violence advocate on the hotline stayed patient. This qualifies as abuse already. You don't wait for escalation. I know the stats. Healthcare worker here. I need emergency protective order guidance. She outlined forms, evidence value, safety steps, courthouse process. Driving home deliberately late. I found Ruth waiting, pretending to read. Late again. Accreditation prep. I noted her flinch. Harlan stressed about Sunday meeting? Routine financials.
He says.
Wants everything perfect. I checked my tracking spreadsheet upstairs. More board replies. AG case number assigned. Protective order forms half filled. Compliance wasn't vengeance. It was relentless documentation until evidence overwhelmed denial. Harlan's Saturday morning pounding on my door demanded family breakfast. I'd slept clothed. Keys ready. Order paperwork stashed at work. Tension thickened the bacon-scented kitchen.
Sit.
We address your recent defiance. Harlan set his phone down hard. Serena's influence ends today. Write her a formal severance letter. I'll approve it.
Why?
I probed, recording discreetly. Because I head this household. Your mother concurs it's best for unity. Ruth nodded mechanically.
Plus.
Attend tomorrow's service, visibly supportive. Board called a meeting. Family presents united. My phone buzzed, AG confirming audit outreach. Harlan slammed the table. Pay attention. Every word. I saved the recording. You want me cutting ties while under financial scrutiny? Silence cracked like ice. What did you say? Emergency meeting about irregularities. Right? Patterns below thresholds. Ghost grants. Unauthorized loans. Compliance triggers. Harlan rose purple-faced. You know nothing. I know documentation. 42 recordings now. Photos. Trails investigators would love. I stood. Table as barrier. I'm done pretending. Done watching you drain a charity donor's trusted. He lunged. I dodged. Escaping out the back. Locks engaging as he reached the porch. Heart pounding but voice steady on the call to Serena. It's accelerating. He tried again. Recorded. AG confirmed. Heading to you.
Call me.
Will refine. Ruth had witnessed it all yet stood immobile. 20 years of paralysis. Serena's voice softened over speaker. That's not shifting tonight. But soon. None of us pretend anymore. Calls from Harlan. Ruth. Unknown church-affiliated numbers flooded my phone. Voicemails added to the file. The demanded letter? I'd write it. But to authorities. Devastatingly factual. Sunday dawned gray. Serena's guest room served as operations hub. Laptop. Documents arrayed. Auditor updates via secure messages. Offices sealed. Preliminary findings triggering forensic dive. Confirmed diversions climbing toward $2.5 million. Linked to 3 shells all tied to Harlan's P.O. box. Mom called frantic. Harlan's destroying things. Come home or he'll.
Crash. Roar.
Line dead. Serena dialed 911 for disturbance. I saved the recording. The trust hall filled unusually. Harlan worked the crowd with politician charm. Sweat beading despite cool air. Ruth sat rigid front row. Board Chair Elena Vargas opened. Emergency session on financial concerns. Engaged independent auditors yesterday. Harlan interjected. Blocked subtly. Slides projected. Diverted funds. Leveraged assets. Shell companies. Gasps rose. Harlan shouted persecution. Evidence followed. Signatures. Timestamps from trust computers. Ownership docs barely disguised. A suited man stood. Detective Ramirez. Financial crimes. Mr. Brooks. Come with us. Harlan lunged toward me. I sidestepped. Cuffs clicked. You did this, he hissed. I documented it. I replied clearly. There's a difference. Board pledged full cooperation. Asset liquidation for repayment. New oversight. I exited past news vans, breathing November air freely for the first time in years. The library conference room in Oak Ridge became our strategy center for 3 hours. Serena and I transformed it into litigation central, slides crisp, facts bullet-pointed. No appeals to emotion. Target wallets and liability, Serena advised. Adjusting glasses. Hearts led them here. My slides detailed timelines, statutory breaches, board exposure risks. Nuclear option. Slide on potential retroactive tax-exempt loss. Millions in personal liability. Registered letters summoned board. Interim director. Key donors. Meeting at 7 p.m. Public. Recorded. Prosecutor texted. Bail hearing set. Order served. Stay alert. Harlan out on bond but barred within 500 feet. Ruth had retreated to a prayer circle friend, claiming we ruined a good man. Room packed by 6:45. Board members aged visibly. Reporters. Mixed congregants, some glaring, others nodding support. Elena called order. I presented. Tonight concerns math and obligations, not faith. Confirmed diversions. $2,476,892. Additional leverage liabilities. $2.1 million. Penalties if status revoked. $3.6 million. Choking sounds from front row. Serena continued seamlessly. Phase 1. Civil asset recovery from Harlan's rentals. Accounts.
Vehicles via fraudulent conveyança.
Projected 60 to 80% recovery. Phase 2. D&O insurance claims up to $2 million given oversight failures. Phase 3. Settlements with kickback vendors already signaling cooperation. Quiet gripped the room. Even reporters paused. Total projected $2.2 to $2.9 million in 18 months. Enough to clear liens, sustain operations, install controls. Questions flew. An older woman challenged compassion. Serena replied gently yet sharply. Compassion funds the tutoring programs he defunded. Forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. Math simply is. Unanimous vote. Authorized litigation. Claims. Negotiations. Offer me compliance role. Declined for conflict. But pledged documentation support. Exiting. A young father approached. Our kids' scholarship program suffered. Thank you for facts over fury. In Serena's car. Exhaustion crashed. Think it'll hold? Process holds. Law holds. New forensic email. Offshore account. Additional $420,000. Serena laughed dryly. Always one more layer. Margin built in. Forwarded promptly. Harlan had relied on narrative control. Spreadsheets proved stronger. Sunday service parking overflowed. Word spread wildfire style. Harlan appeared despite restrictions. Lawyer loophole claimed church exemption. Serena and I sat midsection. I wore a prosecutor's wire. Serena held document folder. He's staging, she murmured. Expected. Harlan took pulpit in immaculate suit. Bible prominent. Accused like Paul. Unbowed. Division attacks what we've built. Eyes locked on me. Forces led by the ungrateful choose destruction over gratitude. Tension built. Elena stood. Since raised. Explain these. Projector. Photos of Harlan's luxury purchases timed to withdrawals. Boat. Vacation property. Jewelry. Club memberships. Security footage. 2 a.m. Transfers. Murmurs erupted. Harlan's mask cracked. Persecution. I gave everything. Which programs? Serena stood. Voice carrying. Defunded education grants? Cancel health initiatives? Budgets redirected to your assets. I rose beside her. Done being silent. Theft isn't leadership. Abuse isn't authority. Dates of incidents listed. Phone evidence offered. Prosecutor identified. Violation of bail. Intimidating witnesses. Harlan roared. Lunging. Officers intercepted. Cuffs again amid gasps. Why couldn't you stay quiet, he snarled, passing. Quiet was destroying us. You taught me documentation defeats desperation. Every threat recorded. Every fraudulent signature preserved.
Doors closed on him.
Ruth turned finally, tears clearing her eyes after 20 years. I need to talk with my daughter and sister. Dispersion brought thanks. Offers of counseling. Financial aid sessions. Serena squeezed my hand. Fear ends here. Criminal trial loomed in months, but silence had already shattered. 6 months later, the district attorney's conference room smelled of stale coffee and closure. Through windows, the Oak Ridge Community Trust steeple caught spring light. We signed plea agreements, Harlan guilty on all counts. 15 to 20 years federal. No early parole first decade. Restitution ordered full amount. Assets frozen. Trust projected $1.9 million recovery post-liquidation. Accomplices settled. Son-in-law conspiracy, 18 months. Vendors cooperating civilly. ADA closed file. Cleanest these cases get. Hallway quiet victory circle. Ruth spoke first. Therapy unpacking 20 years of denial. Marks remain. But we're here. Serena showed text. Youth tutoring reopened. 45 kids. Food/health aid served 320 families. New director excelling. We stepped into sunlight. Courthouse steps. Site of Harlan's walk. Held no ghosts. I accepted senior compliance director at Portland Network. I shared. Building my life. Ruth's face softened. Good. Don't clean our messes forever. Visit often. Serena grinned. Community college bookkeeping instructor role there. Backup ready. 3 women. Survivors through refusal of silence. USB evidence, years of records. Audios. Trails. Had dismantled an empire built on intimidation. Ruth reflected. That first slap after Serena's. If ignored, maybe none of this. Eventually, Serena said. Men like Harlan always overreach. Fear mistaken for loyalty. Court notification. Transfer to facility confirmed. No celebration, just ending.
Clean.
Final. Driving past Trust one last time. Lot full for Wednesday gathering. Sign. New beginnings. All welcome. Harlan preached judgment for decades. Blind to authoring his own via every receipt. Investigation thorough. Prosecution methodical. Justice ground steadily, no spectacle. Just system wait. Bank stop. Security deposit wired for Portland apartment. Starting fresh, teller smiled. Something like that. A shredded order. Old photos at supply store. Lessons endured. Document relentlessly. Verify always. Never confuse quiet with peace. Tomorrow, new role. Clean chapter. Serena follows soon. Ruth visits holidays. We reclaimed each other from ashes.
Tonight.
Balanced spreadsheet zeroed every debt.
Cataloged crime.
Filed truth. Harlan was correct. Judgment arrived. It resembled a compliance specialist inserting a USB. Courage overriding shadow. Portland's reign greeted my first week. Fitting for renewal. Senior compliance role demanded precision. I thrived on audits, protocols, safeguards ensuring funds reached sick children. Not shadows. Serena settled nearby, teaching eager adults forensic basics. Her quiet fire inspiring. Ruth's visits brought tentative healing conversations, unpacking isolation's toll. Trust updates flowed, full repayment on track. Enhanced board training, donor confidence rebounding. Programs flourished without Harlan's cuts. Occasional nightmares replayed kitchen echoes. But mornings brought spreadsheets, truth's anchor. One evening, reviewing old case notes, moral weight settled. Systems protect when people wield them rightly. Silence empowers predators. Evidence liberates quietly. Inexorably, Harlan's empire crumbled not in fury but procedure. Each logged threat, forged form, diverted dollar his undoing. Question lingers. How many families endure unseen? Mistaking endurance for virtue? Documentation doesn't erase pain, but arms against recurrence. Process demands courage most lack until breaking point arrives. In Portland's quiet apartment, USBs secured and safe, I breathed free. Family redefined, not blood alone, but chosen truth-tellers. Harlan faced reckoning in concrete walls. We faced futures bright with verification's promise. What if more chose evidence over endurance? The thought carried hope's quiet weight, lingering long after lights dimmed.